Hector Bravo Unhinged. Chaos is now in session.
Welcome back to our channel, Warriors. Another episode of Hector Bravo Unhinged. Today we have another special guest, a former Logan Heights gang member, former lifer who has transformed his life and paroled a year ago. What's up, dude? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Cool. Why don't you state your name for everybody and tell us where you grew up at, dude?
So my name is Sal Becerra. I grew up in Southeast San Diego, Logan Heights.
Southeast San Diego, Logan Heights, bro. Has Logan Heights changed from back then to how it is now?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We're going to dive into how it was back then, bro, because I remember what Chicano Park is right there.
Right.
How was that? Was that where the gang members used to gather?
It was I mean, come on. That's the Mecca right there, you know, for everybody in Logan Heights. Culturally, you know. So, yes.
Were gangs a big part back then when you were growing up?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's where I got my the foundation, you know, my belief system. That's where it came from.
Was that because family members were involved in the gang?
So I know it's, you know, you hear it a lot. You know, I was born into the gang.
Yeah.
And that's basically what happened. You know, I was born into a setting, into a family full of gang members, starting with my grandmother, my dad, my mom, my uncles. So that's exactly what I grew into.
So Logan Heights, dude, is a pretty notorious gang, especially for San Diego, especially with all the stuff that happened south of the border in Mexico during that time frame. And like I was telling you, I've done my research, man. Is there different, what do you call it, cliques, subsets to Logan Heights?
Yes.
Can you give me approximately how many there are?
Off the top of my head, I could probably say 4 or 5 of them.
4 or 5?
Yeah.
And what do you guys refer to those as? Cliques or different sets? What do you guys call
It's
it?
the same gang, different cliques.
Same gang, different cliques. But it's all Logan.
But it's all Logan.
Red Steps,
30,
30.
13.
And who were the rivals of Logan Heights?
Shelltown, Sherman, Market,
National City?
National City.
Esco, Diablos, or you guys didn't go that far north?
Everybody was, that, you know?
Yeah. And growing up there in a gang, indoctrinated family members, did you guys tend to, and again, dude, I'm asking you because I'm legitimately interested. Did you guys just hang out locally or did you guys venture out into other territories?
So me, myself, I was more locally. Again, I was a kid, you know? I can't go nowhere past the block, you know? So I stayed locally. As far as my relatives and uncles and stuff like that, they would go down south, you know?
Yeah, and you told me that your family members were involved in a major incident that happened down south, man, involving a cardinal.
Yes.
And that he got arrested over here on this side of the state as opposed to down there.
Yes.
How did you perceive that as a youngster? Was it a big deal? Was it a major blow to the family, to the gang? How was that? Was it kind of like normal program?
So that was our uncle, you know. He was everything in our family, you know. I guess you could consider him as a god in our family. I would say that, you know. Well respected, well known. That's who we looked up to, you know. So absolutely, it was a big blow. It was a big blow to the family. I think honestly, after that, the family kind of just fell apart.
Really?
Yeah.
So he was kind of the one holding it together?
Absolutely.
Now, was he, if you, from your memory, was he making frequent trips up and down, or was he kind of just hanging out down there, down south?
From what I remember, you know, keep in mind, I was a kid, you know.
Right.
I would see him often, and you know, there was times where he was gone for quite some time, you know.
Were you ever concerned for his safety?
Honestly, like I've mentioned, you know, he was a god to me. You know, there's nothing that could happen to him.
Were you ever concerned for your own safety?
No.
No. At that time frame, were you guys engaging in criminal activities in that era?
So that era, I would say that wasn't my era. That was my uncles and my
Right.
dad's generation. Absolutely.
So let's fast forward to when you. How old were you when you started kicking it up a few notches, man, and you started making a name for yourself and started getting involved?
I'd say about 14 years old.
14. And that puts us at what year time frame? Because I'm trying to put things in perspective.
I was born in 87. That's 2000.
2000s?
2000s.
So while we were fucking around in Iraq, you were fucking around over here in Logan Heights, man.
Yep.
Did you dodge a lot of? Did you have a lot of near calls, near misses with the law, with enemies, anything like that? A lot of close calls.
So the way that I was brought up and the way that my uncles were, I was very aggressive. I was very violent, right? So I made sure that we were never messed with. And if you were to mess with us, then there would be an issue. So that was the reputation of the family.
Yeah.
Like, don't do it because you're going to have hell to pay, right? And I just continued that on.
Was there numerous families within Logan Heights that kind of like, was that like the thing? Like different family names?
Yeah.
And you were representing yours?
In a sense, yes, but more than neighborhood, you know? It was more like I'm representing a neighborhood. And because of who I'm related to, it lands on my lap. And I have no other choice because I know nothing else but to carry that on.
You said you eventually found yourself, where was it, San Bernardino or Riverside?
So my dad moved us out to Lake Elsinore.
Okay.
And that's when it just got worse.
Did it?
Yeah.
How did it get worse? Isn't there a lot of woods in Lake Elsinore?
So yeah.
You guys were beefing with the woods or what?
So initially we moved out there. My dad wanted to get us out the neighborhood. He knew that it was getting a lot worse. And that just, it made me angry. I didn't want to leave San Diego. I didn't want to leave my neighborhood, you know? And I get there and same thing. It's amazing how there's ghettos everywhere, you know?
Right.
There's neighborhoods everywhere.
But how did you feel not knowing anybody? I mean, you didn't have your homies that you had back home.
No. But I still, it was within me.
It was within you to maneuver.
Yeah. I'm the oldest brother of my brothers, you know? So I've always been the protector. No matter where we go, we're going to be okay. Just like my uncles did it for us, wherever we go, you guys are going to be okay. So when we got to Lake Elsinore, I always knew I'm going to be all right.
Did you start getting into trouble right away?
Yes. We got enrolled into school. Seen the gang members there. Where you from?
Were there Mexican gangs in Lake Elsinore?
Yeah. Yes, there is.
I wasn't even aware of that, man.
Yeah, there's two of them. There's Elsinore Young Classics and Elsinore Vato Locos.
Never even knew that, dude.
Yeah, and then you got your Woods for sure.
Absolutely, huh?
Yeah, they're there.
They were rolling deep?
They're there.
Were they outnumbering you guys?
In a sense. In a
Yeah.
sense.
So after there, you were in Lake Elsinore. Where did you end up moving after that?
To Moreno Valley.
Damn, dude, you just kept moving all over the place, huh?
Yeah, well, I was just causing too much problems for my dad, honestly.
So they just probably thought by relocating you would solve the problem.
Right.
And you were just probably pissed off that you were just fucking getting bounced around.
Yeah, in a sense, yeah.
So the day of your crime that landed you in prison, or can you speak on that?
Yeah.
All right. What happened there? What transpired?
So we ended up being friends with a group of other people, and we had a falling out. Two alphas, basically, you know, and gang shootings, fights, and it eventually led up to me attempting to murder them.
You being from Logan Heights, what gang were you representing as you were moving around all these places?
Logan Heights.
was that ever an issue to the locals there?
Not necessarily. At the time when I moved out there, there was never an issue with people from San Diego. It was more LA.
Mm-hmm.
So the locals there had issues with people from Los Angeles. I never had that issue.
Were you still in contact with your homies back from Logan Heights?
Yes.
Yes, whatever it was at that time, cell phones, fucking computers, MySpace probably.
MySpace, right. I would travel.
You would travel?
Yeah.
So you were moving around.
Yeah.
A fucking youngster all over the place.
Everywhere.
Until ultimately you got arrested. Right? Did they arrest you that night, or the one of those things they show on first 48 hours and people start telling on people and they bring you in? How did that
So
play
I
out?
got arrested, I believe it was like 2 days later.
2 days later.
2 days later. They arrested my brother the same day. They arrested my dad because we have the same name, thinking it was
Damn.
me.
Real quick, was it one of those task force type of fucking looking for you?
Yeah, so they raided the house. That's basically what they did. Obviously, you know, we were once friends. We had a falling out, so our families knew each other. So they knew exactly who it was.
Were you, your brother, and your dad at the same location when you guys all got taken down?
So I ended up fleeing back down to San Diego.
Okay.
I went back down to San Diego and went to my grandma's house.
Were they onto you? Were they trailing you at that time?
I knew they were because they had released my dad once they realized that he wasn't me, and he said they're looking for you.
But you kind of already maybe knew that they were going to be looking for
Oh
you.
yeah, absolutely. That's why I had fled. I already knew my little brother was incarcerated.
So your brother ended up getting jammed up, getting arrested, and getting incarcerated.
Yes,
You're still on the run. You go to San Diego. Did it cross your mind to go a little bit more south into Mexico?
I thought about it,
You thought about it. What discouraged you from doing that?
knowing that my brother was in jail.
Fuck, dude. That's like the movie fucking Boondock Saints, man. The two brothers. They were Irish, though. So because you knew your brother got locked up and you were like, man, I can't fucking bail on him.
No,
It's my brother.
absolutely.
So what was your game plan? Hang out until you got caught?
No, I was actually gonna turn myself in
To who?
to police.
To which agency? Down here or up there?
Well, so I had told my dad. I specifically spoke to my dad. I said, okay, so they locked him up. They're not letting him go. They're like, no. I said, okay, I'll turn myself in.
Okay. Shit, dude. At that time, you didn't know what they were booking him for, your brother?
So we ultimately thought that it was a murder case.
Okay.
We thought that I had killed someone,
Right.
and but again, I wasn't gonna leave my brother in jail alone. I'm the one that did it.
Fuck, dude. So did you ultimately turn yourself in?
The day that I was gonna turn myself in, they raided my grandma's house.
Bro?
Yeah.
Was that the first time you had ever been raided?
No.
No? You've had cops kicking your fucking door before and...
So the first time we were raided was back in 90-something when that happened with my uncle.
In Logan Heights?
Yeah.
Now, ooh, man, it's getting juicy, I'm telling you. So, like, let's talk about raids, bro, because, raids have always been interesting. You always see them all stacked up in a van, fucking body armor, guns, they kicking in doors and shit, dude, throwing fucking stun grenades. Would they ever hit, growing up in Logan, were there a lot of raids where they were hitting the blocks after, or was it more like, I'm going to hit this dope house, or just...
You know what? From my recollection, I remember us getting raided, and that was on behalf of that incident.
Uh-huh.
But I don't remember. I think maybe one other time I remember
Really?
seeing it. But I stayed right there off of 33rd, so it was like a cul-de-sac. So I didn't really leave too much, you know.
If cars that you didn't recognize drove into that cul-de-sac and you and your homies were out at night,
Oh, they wouldn't.
they wouldn't?
No. No, they wouldn't even know.
Would you inquire as to who the fuck is this vehicle?
Yeah, if you were on that time when I was growing up there, if you were on that street, there was a reason why. There was no accidental, turn this
Damn,
way.
dude. Where were you at inside of your grandma's house when they raided the pad?
I was in the living room. And it just happened so fast. Like, I didn't even hear the helicopter.
Fucking helicopter, dude.
Yeah, I didn't even hear the helicopter or anything. And I was just like when it was all said and done and we're all like, whoa, you know? what's going on. I didn't know what was going on.
Did a part of you feel bad because it was your grandma's pad? No?
Not bad. Maybe at the time, maybe a little afraid, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you brought heat to the pad.
No, it wasn't. Oh, you're talking about when I was arrested.
When you got arrested. When they raided your pad, dude.
At that time, I was
Just running them up.
Yeah, it's like it's part of it. You guys know what it is. You
Right.
know, that was my train of thought at the time. Like you guys raised me.
So did they end up transporting you to
Yes, to Temecula,
Temecula?
and then they did the switch off
Where?
in the freeway on the side of the freeway.
Oh shit, man. What was going through your mind when you got gaffled up, dude? You remember you thought you were going away for murder.
So prior to, it's crazy. Like 2 days prior to me committing this crime, I was sitting on my bed, looking out my window, and I was like, I'm tired. I'm done, you know? Like something's got to happen. I was trying to go to, I was actually going to UEI for business class, just trying it out, you know? I was chilling at home. Commercial came on TV. Hey, you sitting on the couch.
Yeah.
You know, so I did that and decided, you know, maybe, and it gave me like a glimpse of hope, you know? But I just knew something was going to happen. I just knew it. So when I got arrested, I was just like, okay, this is it. You know, this is what I felt a couple of days ago.
Were you looking forward to going to prison? I know a lot of gang members say, hey, that's where I get to prove myself. That's where I get to meet, you know, the older fellas.
I wish I still had, because, you know, when we were young, we used to rap karaoke machine, you know? And it's crazy because when my uncle got sentenced, I used to always say I was going to get that sentence too. And I used to rap about it. You know, make my little Logan raps and rap about it. And it came to happen.
Yeah, literally.
Literally.
What jail did you get housed at?
So when I was arrested, they housed me at Southwest and Marietta.
In Marietta?
Yeah.
Damn, bro. In there, was there gang members from LA, San Diego, Riverside?
Yeah.
So there was.
Yes.
It's like a melting pot.
Mm-hmm.
Was that an issue there in county jail? Or was everybody kind of running the same program?
No, because, you know, once you hit the county jail, it's, you know, you fall in line, program time.
How was that experience for you, man? I would imagine you weren't befriending many people from LA at that time.
So I never really had an issue myself with, like, you know, LA or anything like that. But I just remember, you know, I was on the streets for so long causing havoc and, you know, doing all this crazy stuff. And you just think you're just a big old tough guy, you know?
Right.
And then you get locked up and it's program time and it's time to do burpees.
Right.
And I remember I couldn't do not one push-up.
Really?
And I was like, wow.
And
And
it
it
was
was
check, man.
exactly. And it dawned on me, like, it's time to man up.
Yeah. Was the goal when you were fucking around in Logan to make money, create violence, havoc, or all the above?
Just the reputation.
Reputation.
I didn't have the mindset, oh, I want to make the money. Even though at times I would do things to make money, it was more the reputation. It was a big reputation to it was big shoes to fill. You know, how is it that I'm related to these people, that I come from this bloodline, and I'm not furthering it?
Damn, dude. So you felt that responsibility, you felt that weight that you had to carry on the
Yes.
name.
Yes.
Program time, you couldn't do one push-up. Are you sizing other dudes up? Are you now starting to evolve, right? Your criminality, jail, I'm about to hit fucking prison. Are you growing as a criminal?
Yes. I'm growing in the sense that these are different dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
Don't have a gun here.
Correct.
It's time to work out.
Right.
and make a knife if I have to.
What was your take on the COs, the guards? Were you aware of them, or you kind of just disregarded them?
I really didn't pay too much mind to them. I was more focused on in-house. I guess the only times that I would have an issue is when we would have to get strip searched. And that was just,
Maybe there was one CO doing a little too much sometimes,
too
man.
much, It's just, the whole process of being stripped. I understand why they do it, why it's done. But it's, it does something to you, it breaks you down. It breaks you down. And in those moments, you realize, like, you're not in control,
Was there racial tensions, racial wars?
Mostly with the blacks.
With the blacks. Was there a lot of blacks there, numbers-wise?
Yes.
Was it pretty even numbers?
Pretty even.
Did you guys ever crack it off with them?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Was it a dorm setting, cells, day room? What was that setting look like?
So it was a day room setting. You got the cells, and then you come out to the day room.
Is that where the majority of the people that were facing the more serious crimes housed?
You know what? They had them everywhere. They did have like different pods that they house people that have a history of being in prison. I eventually found myself there. So if you get in trouble and you continue doing things, they'll eventually put you right there. Like, you belong over here with these dudes, You're doing too much, basically.
Was there a program set already when you touched down there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Because I hear that some places, it's fucking ran loosely or not ran at all. So there was already something in place.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
How long were you in jail before you went to state prison?
3 years.
Fucking 3 years, dude? Damn. Because I think, what did it used to be? It used to be only 1 year, and then all the propositions changed.
So Riverside County had the highest conviction rate. I believe it was like 98%. And they would not budge. And then we had the district attorney who was just, any gang case, automatic life sentences.
So they hit you with a gun enhancement, I'm assuming.
Yes.
They hit you with a gang enhancement, I'm assuming.
Yes.
And then ultimately, what were you convicted of?
So I was convicted of shooting at an occupied vehicle with a gang enhancement and assault with a deadly weapon.
Which gave you how much?
So the shooting at an occupied vehicle with the gang enhancement, it's an automatic life sentence. It's an automatic 15 to life.
God damn, dude. Did they offer you a plea deal?
They did.
Did you take it?
So, interesting story, right? I haven't talked to my brother about this. They offered my brother 15 years, 2 strikes. They offered me 22 years, 2 strikes. Keep in mind, my brother was innocent, He just drove by the crime scene. He wasn't in the vehicle with me.
Was your brother in Marietta or somewhere else?
He was in juvenile hall, Marietta.
Juvenile hall. At that time, did you have any contact with your brother?
When we would go to court, because he was tried as an adult.
Were you feeling bad at the time?
Yes, absolutely.
So shit, man, they offered your brother, what did you say they offered him?
15 years, 2 strikes.
You 22 years,
22
2
years,
strikes.
2 strikes. At the end of it all, what happened was they approved his sentence, his deal, but mine was not approved. So they wanted him to sign and then tell me, oh, yours didn't get approved, so you have to go to trial. Thankfully, he didn't sign, because I'd say like about not even a month later, he was found not guilty on all charges.
He was found not guilty? Now, from your experience, did you feel that the cops were just trying to get anybody and everybody, considering they gaffled your brother up?
So I never made a statement.
Right.
But during the whole process of going to court, I made it very clear that I committed the crime.
So you never made a statement, however, what were you putting an emphasis like, hey?
Yeah, like I was just obnoxious and rude in the courtroom. Like, you guys know I did it, Why you guys have my brother here? And
they actually found him not guilty?
On all charges.
So a jury found him not guilty?
Yes.
And how did you feel after that you realized he was good?
Oh, man, after, it was, I was grateful.
It sounds to me you were more concerned about him
absolutely.
than yourself.
Yes, for sure. It's my little brother.
That's what's up, dude. I don't have a brother, you know what I mean? But I think if I had a brother, I would probably be the same way.
Yeah.
So now that he's off the hook, you're just focusing on yourself now. Fuck, now when they read you, they convicted it. I mean, what did you think when they said, hey, we're sentencing you to life in prison?
So initially I had got sentenced. I'm sorry. They read the charges that I was convicted of. And I was like, okay, I could do that. That's not a problem. Went back to the cell. I was like, I'm good. Got on the phone and I called my wife and she was crying. I'm like, what's wrong? She's like, babe, you're still getting life. I'm like, no, this charges don't carry life. What are you talking about? She's like, the gang enhancement. I'm like, what? She's like, call your lawyer. So I hung up, called the lawyer. She's like, yeah, you're going to be sentenced to life. I'm like, wow.
So from you being around the block, literally, how easy is it to get a gang enhancement slapped onto a case? Do you just have to be a member of the gang? Do you have to yell out, this is for Logan, bam, bam, bam? You have to be wearing colors? How easy is it, or what are the criteria?
So I had been a documented gang member
Okay.
since juvenile hall.
Damn.
So that has always been on me. So because I'm a documented gang member,
Right.
anything that I do benefits the reputation of the gang.
Mm-hmm.
Gang enhancement.
And that's a wrap, man.
And that's over.
So then where did you go to reception at?
Kern Valley, North Kern.
Fuck, they just killed fucking 2 people there recently this past week.
Yeah.
And that was reception. So here you are, man. You're fucking big boy fucking pants on now.
Yeah.
When you hit state prison, what was your reaction? Or were you kind of already like seasoned because of county jail?
So yeah, I was already, I was ready. For some reason, I believed that I was going to get family visits. I don't know why. And lifers didn't get family visits, you know?
Right.
But, so I was excited about that part. I was excited. Keep in mind, for 3 years, I haven't hugged my wife, haven't hugged my son, haven't hugged no one, you know? So I wanted those visits. I wanted to hug them. And that's what I was looking forward to.
So you had a wife and you had a son?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, how much thought process were you giving them throughout this? Were you thinking like, oh, fuck, I'm never going to see him again? Or that didn't really play into your thought process?
I was so desensitized and it was so normal that I just thought it was normal. Like, I really thought, like, this is just what we go through. This is us. This is where we come from. This is part of our life, you know?
That's fucking crazy, dude. But I hear what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
So were you anticipating, because I don't know your current marital status, you know, out of respect, I'm not going to ask, but were you thinking like this marriage is not going to work or it is going to work? Did that cross your mind?
Honestly, where I grew up at is such a dark place, right? That I learned how to be optimistic.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
That makes sense. So after North Kern, where did you go?
Right across the street.
Where's that?
Kern Valley.
Kern Valley, Delano. Level 4?
Level 4.
GP. 180.
180.
Killers.
Killer Kern.
And then, how was that, man? You go around, you start meeting people?
So I get there, they put me in a hole immediately.
Why?
Exactly, right? I was like, why? They didn't have room. So go to the hole. They put me in a cell with a paisano. And he's all like, look, he ran the whole game. He's like, look, you'll be here for a while. As soon as it gets space, you'll go over there. If you go to this yard, I work with the blacks. If you go to this yard, you know. And so I was like, okay, I'm here now. This is the real deal, you know. I'm in Killer Kern.
Had you heard of the different prisons prior to you going? I mean, like Calapat, Centinela, the ones down south.
Yes.
You had heard about them?
Mm-hmm.
And how did you feel about being in Kern? I mean, it's kind of fucking far away from San Diego.
Well, I really didn't have a choice. You know, they give you like 2 options.
Yeah, you don't have a choice, but how did you feel about being there particularly?
I really didn't know too much of it. I was just glad that I didn't have to take a long bus ride.
Oh,
I'll just go
Pelican
right
Bay
across
or
the
High
street.
Desert.
Right.
Yeah. So was there anything major that kicked off after you got housed after the hole? Hey guys, consider becoming a patron where you will get first exclusive dibs on the video before it airs to the public, and you'll get to ask the guests special questions that you have in mind. So that's also another way to support the channel. Thank you guys. Appreciate all of you. Keep pushing forward. Make sure you hit that link in the description below.
So I get to the housing unit, and my cellie tells me, like, look, we're going at it with the blacks. The doors crack open. You know, we're going to go at it. He asked me if I had my 128, and I had it hooped, you know. So I gave him that after a while. We checked it, cleared out, gave me a knife.
You didn't have to hoop it, bro. You could have just put it in your legal paperwork, man.
We didn't have our property.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
So they always say, like, hey, you know, if you're going to go to a 180,
yeah,
you know, just it's better to have it than not to have it, you know, because if you're waiting on the counselors.
No, I hear you. So this time frame was when there was still lockdowns, right? Were there lockdowns? Did you get to experience a fucking lengthy lockdown?
Yes.
How was that?
It was frustrating.
Why is that?
More for because, you know, you're locked in a cell. You don't get what you got coming. No packages, no canteen. It gets a little frustrating.
Did you ever get the feeling of like claustrophobia? Like the walls fucking closing in on you?
I did it in Ironwood.
You did or you didn't?
I did
in
Ironwood. That
Why,
was
because
years
it was
later.
hotter?
Yeah, because it was a lot hotter.
So you did get to experience other prisons.
Yes.
Were you involved when you were in Kern Valley, when you were new to the system, or did you start getting involved in things?
So being that I was like one of the youngest ones there, I just stayed very quiet, very observant. And people took a liking to me. And, you know, I was taken under the wing. Somehow, some way, I ended up, you know, with the big dogs. And that's just how it was, you know. And for me in Kern Valley, it was just more like chill because everybody else was trying to prove a point and being all rowdy, like the younger ones that had came in, you know, versus me, I'm just like super quiet.
Did you observe a lot of violence there?
Oh, yes.
Mostly same gangs on the same gang? Same race on the same race or everything?
Mostly, yeah, us, taking out us.
How'd you feel about that? Were you concerned at any... At that time, man, were you seeing the forest for the trees? Did you see the big picture, or were you just kind of fucking seeing...
So I knew that there was an order of operation. I understood that this is how it operates in here.
Okay.
And I just knew, stay within the guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
You step outside these guidelines, you'll pay the consequences.
Did you see people pay the consequences?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah.
Were you exposed to a whole nother level of violence as opposed to now you're seeing individuals stab the shit out of other people up close and personal? Fucking blood everywhere.
Yeah. I remember my first yard there, my first actual yard. After we come off of lockdown, everything got resolved. My first yard. And I see Samoans. And these dudes look like giants.
They're fucking huge.
They're huge. And they stabbed some dude right in front of me. And I got stuck, bro. Alarms going off. Everybody hit the pavement. And I'm just standing there, like, shocked. And everyone's yelling at me, get down, get down. And that's when I see my first stabbing. I was like, wow. Like, this is straight gladiator stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty vicious, man. Yeah. For people that haven't seen it, it's pretty fucking vicious.
Yeah.
After Kern Valley, where'd you go after that?
Calipat.
God damn, bro. You went to Calipat?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was that a little different than fucking Kern Valley?
It was. I kept hearing things about Calipat, but honestly, my experience in Calipat wasn't. I think Kern Valley was more dangerous. Even though we did have our incidents in Calipat, I think Kern, because you feel it. Kern Valley is something about that place. You just
elaborate on what you feel while you're there.
There's a vibe, there's a spirit there. I don't know what to call it, but it's just you sense it.
Tension,
the danger, the unknown.
Is that you being a former inmate? Is that with the other races, with your own people, or in general?
So the crazy thing is, I was never afraid for other races. I was never afraid of being hurt by another race. I was always more cautious of my own race, of the politics, of the backstabbings.
I totally understand what you're saying, dude. Totally understand. And you're saying that because of that, there at that prison, that's how it felt there?
Oh, yeah.
You think maybe Calipat felt a little bit different because the program ran a little different?
Calipat people were more focused on, they had their priorities different, I would say that.
At what point in your incarceration did you decide you were going to change as an individual?
In Calipat.
At Calipat. How did you have that epiphany, or what did that look like?
So Calipat, throughout this whole process of me being incarcerated, I would say the way that I kind of moved through there, it's at one point I would say I became like the dope man, right? I was the plug. Never used nothing, just here, boom, take it, leave me alone, right? And in Calipat, on my way to go do that, my visits didn't show up. So, Calipat's hot. My neighbor tells me, go to the church. They have ice. They got the AC in there. And I don't know if you're familiar with Calipat, but once they put you in there, they lock the door and they leave you in there. And, I heard a sermon and it just changed my life. It literally anything belief that I had. I mean, it took I want to say 2 months, but.
So you were expecting to hit during a visit. Your visitor didn't show up. And then where did they put you?
In the church.
In the church. How come they put you in the church?
So it was either I was already in my blues.
You were in your blues.
Ready to go, shower down already, everything. And instead of mandatory yard, the neighbors just said, hey, just go to the church. Just go chill out right there until yard's over. I said, okay, I'll do that.
Do you think, looking back in hindsight, that was like a divine intervention?
Absolutely, because when I walked in there, the message that was given, he said, what if I told you that what you believe to be true is false, and what you believe to be false is actually true? What if I can show you in plain daylight? What would you do then? And he started naming things off. You say you care about your people, but you're killing them off by giving them drugs. You say you don't believe in this stuff, but you're over here and you're putting your family in danger.
What yard was this?
I was on A yard. This is B yard.
And you said it took a couple months for it to resonate, for you to, you didn't make a decision right away?
I did not. I did not make a decision right away. However, I could not sleep. It was just in my conscience. It was in my mind. And it was like I knew the truth. I'm telling you, I really believed what I believed. I believed that this was normal. I was so desensitized that I did believe it. And just now having this information, I just felt like I know the truth now. It's like when you know.
Yeah, once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Exactly.
Did that take the fun out of what you were doing before?
Yes, because I at that point, I didn't have the passion for it anymore. And that's when I knew,
But you were still a lifer.
Yes.
At that time, had they started passing new laws yet, or
no?
Or no?
No.
So you were still a lifer. In your head, you weren't going home. Nobody was going home. But this is ultimately you decided to make a change.
Yes.
What did that change look like?
So it was one of the hardest things that I had to do while incarcerated. I had to write the homies at one time and just let them know, like, look, guys, I don't know what happened. I stepped into this church and I'm not the same. I'm gonna give my life to God. And I hope you guys respect that. And went out to yard, and I didn't know what was gonna happen. I didn't know the repercussions. I just knew that for me, God had revealed himself to me, and that was enough. So
Did they hit you?
No.
Oh, that's a good fucking thing, man. Did they accept your kite?
Some did and some didn't.
Ultimately, I'm just assuming that they weren't cool with it.
Absolutely not. But they had to respect it.
But did you stay there or did you go to another yard?
No, I stayed there.
You stayed there.
Mhm.
Were you asked to participate still?
So, although you're a Christian, although you give your life to God and you follow God, there's still, you're still obligated to jump when there's riots.
Yeah.
If you're respected and they know that, you're sincere, they won't ask you to do something you would, that you shouldn't be doing. Plus, they don't want you in their business like that,
Right. So now we're moving forward. You've had this divine intervention. You've kind of. I'm actually surprised you let the fucking homies know, because that's a risky move, bro. That's kind of a dangerous thing to do.
It was, especially at Calipat.
It's almost reckless, dude.
Especially at Calipat. But I was that bold. I was that convinced that what I believe now, what was revealed to me, I was now convinced that this was the truth.
Dude, so did you have to unlearn everything you learned growing up?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I still had mannerisms, beliefs that I had to start training myself, and just kind of telling myself, like, that's not normal,
Now, what were you using as resources? Were you using books, reading? Was there classes that you were partaking in?
At that time, classes wasn't a thing. I think the only thing they had was AANA. So it wasn't as big thing as it is today.
Right.
But just church.
Church.
They had a amazing library at the church, and just read the Bible, and just seeked.
So you went all in on faith in church at Calipat.
All in.
Did that decision save your life?
I'm home from a life sentence.
Do you believe that because you found God and God found you, that's the reason why you're home now?
Absolutely.
I want you to explain to the viewers some struggles or setbacks that you experience while you're trying to better yourself as a man in prison. Like, what did those little setbacks look like?
I'll being outcasted, right? Being outcasted, and in a sense, wanting to prove yourself back into the fold. But having the understanding that there's a greater purpose, even though it doesn't exist right now in the present time. It's hard, It's hard because your heart's still there. But it was wrong. So I had to transform that, change that, and chip away at it. And that was one of the hardest things to do.
How big was your ego before that? You know what I mean by ego?
Yeah.
Like ego, like you said, I got to prove myself, right? It's like you want to do better, but there's still that kind of like that fucking devil on your shoulder.
And, I carry that today.
Right. We all do.
And that's the thing, that sometimes we feel that, hey, we'll never have to deal with that ever again.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right, dude.
And it's just there, and yeah, that's that person, that's that other side of you that you just have to say, hey, We're not like that no more.
Right.
We don't do that no more.
When did you first hear about? Wait a minute. What law did you ultimately get released under?
So ultimately, I didn't benefit from none of them.
Even though the one under 26 or anything like that?
So I did fall under that category, but I had to served out my 15 years. So I had 15 to life. So because I had 15 to life, that made me eligible for parole. I had an 18-year to life sentence, but on my 15th year, I would be eligible for parole.
And how many times during your incarceration did you attend a parole hearing?
One
And the one and done, and that was a wrap.
and done.
You know, I interviewed somebody else that had the same similar experience, man. When was that time frame, or what did it look like when you heard rumors or hope? Hey, this homie's going home. This dude has all day, and he got a fucking date. What did that look like?
So then I was transferred to Ironwood. Ironwood, I started hearing about this guy named Scott Bunnick
Yeah, I know who he is.
and all these amazing things that he's doing.
The ARC Coalition.
Right. ARC. So as I start hearing this, I'm just like, wow. Like, is this really true? Are people really going to go home? And there were people that benefited off I think it was SB 260, and they went home. And I was on the yard with them, and I was like, what? So that's when I started seeing a lot of lifers go home.
Did you get a glimpse of hope at that point?
I did.
Did you think you were going to be one of those individuals?
Yes, sir.
Or you didn't want to get your hopes up? Were you still kind of on the fence?
So the crazy thing is I was super hopeful, right? But I started noticing right before board, I started to self-destruct.
Ooh, talk about that, dude.
The understanding of the past of not wanting to fail. So you start to self-destruct. I'd rather destroy this myself right now knowingly instead of giving my all, my best, my change,
Right.
only to say that my change is not good enough.
Self-sabotaging.
Self-sabotaging.
Now, you said you began to self-sabotage, self-destruct, but did that mess you up in any way? Did that have an effect at all?
By the grace of God, it didn't.
That's good, dude.
By the grace of God, it didn't.
Now, during this time frame, did you have hope? Did you have aspirations to do anything when you got out of prison? Were you like, man, I'm never going to look back. I'm not going to go back to the neighborhood. I'm going to get a job. I'm going to help other people.
So throughout my whole time being incarcerated, my brother, which was my co-defendant, he was always moving out here in the world, you know? So he would send me pictures, write me letters, and that always kept me like hungry and excited about life, you know? And then I started to see him change, and I started to see him, you know, talk different, look different. And he was just basically, my little brother became the big brother and became the role model.
Damn.
And he kept me up to date. He definitely kept me up to date.
Did you parole from Ironwood?
No, so from Ironwood, I was transferred to CMC West.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You did tell me before this that you ended up in CMC West. Man, you just fucking took a tour of all California.
Yeah, basically.
Hey, well, at least the weather was nice in CMC.
Oh, I tell you what, I had a thought. If I don't go home, at least I'll die here.
Hey, did you experience a summer in Calipat and Ironwood?
Oh, yeah.
It's hot as fuck, huh?
Super hot.
So you get to CMC. It's a different time frame. The department has already changed. Yards are getting mixed. You have hope that you're going home. So were you just chilling? Were you just posted there?
Yeah, so I was just programming. I was basically doing classes.
Is that level 2?
Level 2,
Is that a level 2 non-designated?
non-designated.
So let's talk about that, man. Was there, I know I asked you when you were in Calipat, you said all they had was AA and NA, which is true. When you got to CMC, did they have more programs available?
Oh, they had everything you can think of, college, different colleges. They had anger management, gang anonymous, um, domestic violence, everything, every class you can think of, they had it.
Are those classes beneficial to inmates?
Those classes are run by inmates.
Oh, they're run by inmates. But are they beneficial?
Absolutely. So this is what we do. This in other, I'm not 100% sure of other prisons, but I know that in the majority of the prisons, we formulate these curriculums, put them together, have our family send us books. We formulate these curriculums and we teach them. We ask the LT, hey, LT, you think we can have the chow hall?
Right.
And we teach these curriculums and hoping that
they have the parenting classes for the dads.
Classes, yes.
And at that time, were you just taking advantage, dude, soaking it all in?
Yes, at that time I was all for education.
How long were you at CMC for?
I want to say about 2 years, 3 years.
Damn, dude. So you were posted up at these prisons for a little bit of time.
Yes.
You started in Kern Valley, rocking and rolling, man. Big ass Samoan stabbing the shit out of each other. Yeah. You go to Calipat. You were supposed to hit and visiting. You didn't. Ironwood. Now CMC. When did you get word that you were going to go to board?
CMC.
Who told you? Counselor?
The counselor. Counselor called me in and says, hey, you're going to board, which I already kind of knew. Just calculating the time. And I was just like, this is bad timing.
Why?
Because they were mixing up the yards.
Had that yard been mixed yet or not yet?
Not yet.
Did you hear from other people that yards were getting mixed?
Oh, we knew. It was we knew what was going on throughout the whole system.
And from a former inmate's perspective, you're locked up, you're property of the state, and you're hearing, oh, they're about to mix us with our enemies. What's going through your head, dude? What's your thought process?
I'm not going home. My chance is out the door. It's done. Everything I worked for is done.
Now, it's easy for somebody that has no idea about prison life to say, well, can't they just not fight and get along? What do you have to say to that?
Yes, you can. That is a choice. But you risk being hurt.
Kind of like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Exactly.
And the environment breeds that.
And we're not talking about just fist fights. We're talking about your life.
Correct.
We're talking about, my wife losing her husband, my son losing his dad.
Were you ever involved in the mixing?
So the thing was, it was better for you to be established at a prison that's not mixed yet than to go to a prison and get mixed in because of the upper hand, right?
Yeah, because we would walk you one by one into a fucking dorm and you would get stomped out by 20 dudes.
Exactly.
Then we'll get you and throw you in the hole.
And I've seen that.
Yeah, that's exactly what was happening.
And that broke my heart. Just seeing people being brought into the dorm. And, I'm a Christian at this point.
Right.
But I see the homies and, it goes off only for all of them to be cuffed up, maced up, only to be brought back again. And we're just like, what are you guys doing? Why are you guys bringing these people back?
Right.
Usually protocol is they go to the hole and it's over with. You won't see them again.
So I got to tell you something, man. Our higher-ups didn't tell us that they were going to do that either.
Yeah.
We were straight being told, uncuff them, bring them back in. We were having the same thought. Dude, it's pissing me off thinking about it. It's like, well, why are we doing this shit? Like, what the fuck? Are you fucking serious? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it was a fucked up situation, dude. So that was your concern? Like, oh, fuck, I'm going to get caught up in this wreck.
Yeah.
So what do you have to say about CDCR's push on rehabilitation, but at the same time, they're mixing enemies?
So I think I think what they're trying to do is get the programmers that are actually wanting to go home separated from the people that don't want to go home. And in that process, we will see deaths.
That sounds like a horrible idea, man.
We will see so many deaths, right? And we've seen them. You know, we've seen them. We've read about them. We've heard about them, and it's unfortunate, you know.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, it's a horrible idea, man. And I hear what you're saying. It's like, hey, we're gonna sort out the ones that want to program and don't want to program. But the way that we're gonna sort them out is we're gonna allow them to kill each other.
And in the process, you might lose, you know, the people that are programming wanting to go home.
Yeah, facts. So when you got granted parole, how was that, dude? You're at the hearing. Did they let you know then and there?
You know what? Yeah, they let me know right then and there. And something that I struggled with my whole life, right? And when I went up there, the commissioner said, Becerra, you came in here, you're not perfect. But we were not expecting perfection. And I took those words and I was just like, wow. That's all, like, you're good enough to go home. You're good enough to come back into society. He's like, you're granted. And I was just so grateful for that, you know?
And you had already been down 15 years.
15 years.
What did your family members go pick you up?
So eventually, yeah, because I have to wait I think 90 or 120 days after.
Yeah. Dude, how were those 90 or 120 days? Were you just like trying to stay out of the way?
So I was good. It was the last day that it got me. I couldn't sleep. And this is dorm areas, right? Dorms?
Yeah.
Dorm settings. And then the reality hits me. I'm leaving my friends.
Right.
I'm leaving, you know, people that I've known forever. And that hurt. You know, that hurt. And then I didn't want to leave. There was a part of me that I didn't want to go.
I've heard that from former lifers that have paroled, and they say the same thing, man. And if you ask me, I think it's some type of form of survivor's guilt. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That you get to go home and they don't.
Right.
And they even said that it hit them when they were eating their first meal when they got out. Mm. They're like, man, look at all this fucking food. The homies in there could be eating some of this. Did you experience that when you got out?
Yeah, I still do. You know, I miss them. You know, there are some times where I know it's crazy to say, but I'm like, I miss prison. You know, I miss, it's so fast out here. You know, there's a lot going on out here, and there's just.
How would you define or explain the respect level on a level 4 GP yard compared to out here?
Well, yeah, I mean, up there on level 4, it's either you respect or you die, you know?
I think there'd be more respect out here in the streets if it was that same way, man.
Right.
That's probably why people are out of pocket, you know what I mean?
For sure.
And wild, dude.
For sure.
So I hear you saying you miss that, and these are similarities between somebody who's been to war, man, and somebody. It's like once you dive into a certain what it is, and I'm gonna tell you, man, you're tapping into your basic like prehistoric like caveman survival instinct days, man. Once you tap into that part of the brain, it's like kind of hard to see the world, anyway else.
Yeah, for sure. I don't mean there'll be times where I'm driving a car and I wonder how I got to where I went to.
Yeah.
I'm not even here. I'm here, but I'm not here, you know?
Yeah.
I'm thinking about other stuff, and I'm like, well, I'm driving a car. Like, what are you doing, you know?
And you've been home for how many years now?
Going on 3 years.
Going on 3 years? Now, have you continued the same momentum of seeking self-help as you have while you were in there?
Just church.
Church?
Yeah, still do my church and Bible studies.
That's good. That's good. Right now, or do you help out other people?
So I feed the homeless.
Oh, you do?
You know, we go out there and we feed the homeless, that type of stuff. But I'm hoping to kind of, you know, it's hard because I'm establishing myself.
Right.
And the world moves so fast. I'm like, it's already been 3 years, right? And it's crazy because over here the time is so long, but in prison, they remember me like it was just yesterday.
You think people out here in society have a sense of entitlement?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that just, I remember being at a gas station and some guy just went in there upset because the restroom was not usable because it was drying out. And he just had a full meltdown. And I was just like, what is going on out here?
Yeah, dude. I mean, I fucking struggle with that shit to this day, dude.
Yeah.
You have any last words you want to say to the viewers or say a message out there for everybody to hear?
I would just say that, look for that contrast. You want change, that's good. That's the desire, but you have to see what you want, look for it. I think that's what helped out for me, being able to see that contrast. And I think that's why a lot of people would ask me, why didn't you lock it up? And I'm like, I wanted to be on the yard as the light and show people like you can change. You don't have to continue to do that. You're choosing to do that. You can follow God. You can do things right. You can be correct and be respected and not get hurt, So I would just say that, man. Just do what's right.
I was going to say, man, it's because it's hard. It's hard. You mentioned locking it up. It's just like you can't even lock it up these days because the COs won't let you because they kind of did away with that. They did away with the SNY per the administration.
Right. So that's why I remember watching your videos. And I used to tell people, like, I got out just in time.
You did, dude.
I got out just in time because it's not a joke. It's not a joke. It's scary. It's life or death, and it's like, just imagine you being put as a civilian in a room full of lions. And if you survive, I'm going to put you back in there.
Yeah, dude.
And if you survive that, let's see if you survive a third time. And your family doesn't know nothing about it. The only call they'll get is saying that, hey, you're done, he died. We apologize.
I don't even think they give an apology.
I don't think so either. But, I mean.
Damn. Well, dude, it was a pleasure having you on the show, bro, talking about growing up in Logan Heights, prison terms, and then that transformation, dude. Hopefully, and I know it's going to save other people's lives, bro, because people need to hear it from somebody that's been through it, dude. And you definitely been through it. So there you guys have it, folks. Another banger. Thank you guys for joining. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thank you. Love you. Keep pushing forward.
You've been listening to Hector Bravo Unhinged. Follow for more.